last phase of state assembly election concludes, BJP indulges in activities violating election model code of conduct, asserts former Chief Minister Oibobi. Violent incidents mark last phase of state poll, 2 killed, another injured in different poll-related incidents. And Mami TV News video journalist assaulted, mobile phone snatched away while covering assembly poll in Wangkem Assembly constituency. Hello and good evening. Welcome to Mami TV English News Bulletin. I'm KABITA TONGBRAM. Polling for the second and last phase of 12th Manipur Legislative Assembly elections began at 7 this morning. Large number of voters, including former Chief Minister Okram Ibobi, cast their votes at their respective polling stations. Speaking to media persons after casting his vote, INC candidate in Thawal Assembly constituency, Ibobi contended that BJP indulged in various activities in violation of election model code of conduct. He stated that he is not against BJP in trying to resolve insurgency problem in Manipur. However, using militants as tool for election is in violation of election model code of conduct, Ibobi maintained.
Our duty to shape the life and the property of the innocent people of Manipur. So we are most welcome. We will definitely shape their life. In a minimum 7,000 to 8,000.
A total of 92 candidates, including 2 women candidates, were in fray in 22 assembly constituencies in the last phase of the state assembly election. Out of the 92 candidates, 17 candidates have criminal antecedents. BJP fielded the highest number of candidates with 22 candidates, followed by Congress with 18 candidates, NPP 11 candidates, JDU 10 candidates, RPI Atwale 3 candidates, NCP and Shiv Sena 2 candidates each. Rashtriya Janjit Sangharsh Party, RJSP and CPI 1 candidate each and 12 independent candidates. According to report from CEO Control Room, the voter turnout till 3 p.m. in Thawal district was 67.17%, 70.30% in Chandal, 67.99% in Ukhrul, 74.02% in Senapati, 57.81% in Tamenglong and 67.80% in Jiribam, rounding up the total voter turnout in the 6 districts till 3 p.m. to 67.77%. Violent incidents marked the last phase of the 12th Manipur Legislative Assembly elections. At least 1 person was allegedly shot dead and another injured by Indian security forces on election duty at polling station number 47/49 Ngamju village in Garong Assembly constituency in Senapati district today. The deceased has been identified as K. Longwao, son of Tikat, and injured as B. Saupe, son of Esvani of Ngamju village. Election agent of BJP candidate R.U. Jonathan Tao in Karong Assembly constituency, Ngauni R. James, expressed strong condemnation that the security forces shot at the duo without giving any proper reason, instruction or warning. He demanded the authority concerned not to allow the accused to leave the polling station until justice is done and award them befitting punishment. In another poll-related violence, 1 man was shot dead yesterday. The man has been identified as Laimapopam Arun 24 of Wongjing Hodam Maning Lekai. He sustained bullet injuries on his back and left waist. He succumbed to his injuries at Ras Medicity, Imphal. Video journalist of Mami TV News El Canto was not only assaulted despite knowing he was a media person, but his mobile phone OnePlus used in covering the assembly polls at polling station number 32/26 and 32/24 opened at Charangpad High School in Wangkem Assembly constituency was also snatched away. Our video journalist was assaulted when he was trying to cover a violent incident happening opposite to the polling station. Some persons in the area not only beat him up but also took away his mobile phone. Speaking to Mami TV JDU candidate in the constituency, K. Jadumini maintained that such attack and assault on media persons can never be accepted.
So in the confidence later, Tina Gadabase, Mike Salwang, Ahmed Nabachandra, Tin and Kanji. Adozi, Aquina, Kanjari, the Amukusiki, labor situation, the EVM machines, Aquagi, stand blocks, was 25,000 voters labors, the machines Amatia, the Bangato, Aduna Equida, Hariba voters, Oltomotam, the percentages, name it, I would have given the doubt of delay. I am white, I do come out there in a round selling it out, now Pagazu to pound money. Mami TV, channel, correspondent, for money, interview of the airport artillery, at the Matamoy and convenient and Tosin. See your commandant mobile mangre, I'm the Simato, Tony Toka, I am Tina, I to Fawe, I don't know Haribak, mobile Sisu, Kanaka, and Logan Havito, I can the Kaisgi, the other labor mamsing, Rosashin, Hamzaragama to a one of the owners.
Polling personnel under the supervision of the District Election Office Towal conducted verification of young voters at polling stations in Hairok Assembly constituency with production of 2 AIDS-proof documents as ordered by CEO Manipur under the ruling of High Court of Manipur. Reporters and video journalists of Mami TV found one counter each opened for the verification of birth dates of young voters at every polling station in the constituency while covering the assembly poll. Central security forces and Manipur police personnel were deployed in large in the constituency and security measures were stepped up as violence was predominant in the AC before the poll. Security personnel were also deployed on most of the roads of the AC to prevent any untoward incident. MLA of Hairok Assembly constituency TONGBRAM expressed confidence that he will win the election by securing around 5,000 more votes than his nearest rival. He said this while addressing the media after exercising his franchise. Stating that the election is crucial in democracy, Radheshyam said the state will move forward when the people elect capable representatives, expressing confidence that people will elect a party who work for the welfare of the people. He said majority of BJP candidates will win this year's election. People have faith in the largest party in the world for its dedication towards the people and working alongside them, he said. In the election to the 11th State Assembly, Radheshyam won by getting around 1,600 more votes than his nearest opponent, INC candidate.
Lising Mangagi Mayadi and Gani and a Praza Mayam Sunung Siva, a party, ideology palm, Wakalon Palm, and the Hengani and I.
Voting at polling stations 33 by 30 and 33 by 31, where an all-women polling team was opened at Hairok High School at Hairok Part 2, Laimayu Mamang in Hairok Assembly constituency for the second phase of the state election went on peacefully. Speaking to Mami TV, presiding officer of polling number 33 by 31, Violet Dasana said she was anxious when she was notified for election duty in Hairok AC because of the pre-poll violence in the AC. There was always a sense of worry even during the election training and rehearsals. However, all those fears subsided after getting necessary knowledge during the training. Asserting that the election went peacefully, like Dasana said, polling agents have extended the full support.
Lakwa matamdadi aikoida karigumba nuaitaba problem aduga difficulty kaimda thengnade hojik phawa gi oina yamna nuaina yamna smooth oina aikoigi poll se jathari makhatana ko thoidokpa akai atoi adegi karimbakta leite aduga polling agency aikoida yamna cooperate oi mi singsu yan tana hojik phawa dai adum jathari poll se phajana.
INC candidate of Hairok Assembly constituency, Moirangthem Okendro, and his wife M. Sarita cast a vote today at polling station 33/34 for the second phase of the election to the 12th Manipur Legislative Assembly, which began from 7 a.m. today. Addressing the media after casting his vote, Okendro said despite pre-poll violence in the AC, the election went peacefully. As a precautionary measure, Election Commission of India has provided additional security in the vulnerable areas of the AC. As such, he appealed to the people to exercise their democratic duty without any fear. Okendro also sought people's support in bringing a change to the state.
Hairok Kendrigi, Miamda, Akiba Litana, Chinaba Litana, Sai Saga Dicado, Sai Sana Pamjaba, candidates in the PBU. Among the Toning the Batudokayama election in Amada Tokre, Yamna Tomoson and Nijadi, Makata Vasadi, the Vidiba Quigi, Razapunamana, Kibamata Yaudana, Kanamata Insigis and Yaudana, Sai Sagi Pamjaba, Mr. Kambiduna. Ani kuda uang bama purakna ba, apa balenga kemalaina ba, pada view hai bawa pun.
According to our correspondent, people of Hairok AC lined up from 3 a.m. in the morning at polling stations to cast their votes. Hairok, which has 17 out of 39 polling in the AC, witnessed high voter turnout, while the turnout at the remaining 22 polling remained average. In Churchandpur district, 5 polling stations in Henglep Assembly constituency had repolled today after witnessing some uncertainties and irregularities on poll day of first phase on February 28. The polling stations which went for repoll are 57/20 Majuran Kuki, 57/31 Anchingpei, 57/34 Koirentak, 57/39 Molshang, and 57/49 Lainom. Election in this polling went peacefully. General Observer and SDO/SDM of Kangbai subdivision inspected the polling stations and instructed voters to produce verification. They dispersed offices of political parties and people gathered near the polling stations. Central Paramilitary Force and Churchandpur District Police secured the repoll areas. There were no reports of any toward incident. A bomb exploded at the house gate of ex-chief spokesperson of BJP CH Bijoy last night. The bomb was exploded at the gate of the residence of CH Bijoy located at Lamphel-Pat, Kuno. CCTV footage showed 2 persons with face masks on a 2-wheeler planting the bomb and riding away. The bomb is suspected to be an IED. CH Bijoy said that he has no enemy and that he does not understand why the bomb attack was carried. The only possibility could be a threat to silence him politically, he said.
I want to say, my personal enemies like other election manung some walk gang was home me yopla. When a gang the Navina, gang the Navina, Tapni kind of
It's time for a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
LX Sublimation. Pauna Bazaar, Imphal, JMG Shopping Complex, first floor. Mafam asida mug printing, cover printing, t-shirt, keychain, photo frame, sublimation ki pot khuding mug wholesale da pangbigani. Items available are mug printing, cover printing, t-shirt, keychain, photo frame. All the mentioned items will be available at wholesale rate in LX Sublimation.
Welcome back. India reported 5,921 new COVID-19 cases with 289 deaths in the last 24 hours. With this, India's total tally of COVID-19 cases now stood at 4.29 crore and that of the active cases at 63,878 according to Union Health Ministry data. The number of deaths due to the disease has climbed to 5.14 lakh with 289 fresh fatalities reported in a span of 24 hours. The active cases comprise 0.17% of the total infections, while the national COVID-19 recovery rate has further improved to 98.65%, the ministry said. Meanwhile, a reduction of 6,119 cases have been recorded in the active COVID-19 case load in the last 24 hours. The daily positivity rate was also recorded at 0.63% and the weekly positivity rate at 0.84%. On the other hand, with 11,651 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, the cumulative tally of recovered patients stood at 4.23 crore. Further, with the administration of more than 24.62 lakh vaccine doses in the last 24 hours, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has exceeded 178.55 crore across the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Pune on March 6 to inaugurate the Pune Metro Rail project worth more than rupees 11,400 crore. He will also inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various development projects. At around 11 a.m., Prime Minister will unveil the statue of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj on the premises of Pune Municipal Corporation. Prime Minister will also inaugurate Pune Metro Rail project that will be an endeavour to provide world-class infrastructure for urban mobility in Pune. He will further inaugurate a 12-kilometer stretch of the total 32.2-kilometer Pune Metro Rail project and inspect the exhibition at Garware Metro Station and will undertake a metro ride from there to Anandnagar Metro Station. 3 C-17 heavy lift transport aircraft of the IAF, which had taken off yesterday from the Hindan Air Base in Uttar Pradesh, landed back at Hindan today morning. These flights evacuated 629 Indian nationals from Ukraine's neighboring countries, Romania, Slovakia and Poland. These flights also carried 16.5 tons of relief load from India to these countries. So far, the IAF has flown 10 flights to bring back 2,056 passengers while taking 26 tons of relief load to these countries as part of the Operation Ganga. A number of Indian students from Ukraine are moving into the Russian territory from the Ukrainian side with assistance from the Indian government. India has so far deployed only C-17s and commercial planes to bring back Indian citizens from Poland, Romania and Hungary. In order to allow civilians to evacuate, the war zone, Russia declared a brief ceasefire in parts of Ukraine today. The ceasefire will be in place for 5.5 hours from 12:30 p.m. IST onwards. During this time, humanitarian corridors for the exit of civilians from Mariupol and Volnovakha will be opened, the Russian Defense Ministry said. Food and medicines will also be delivered to the cities that have been cut off by Russian forces. Creating humanitarian corridors for the evacuation of civilians was agreed upon by Russian and Ukrainian officials during their second round of talks in Belarus aimed at resolving the crisis. Ukrainian presidential aide Mikhail Podolyak said that about 2 lakh people are trying to evacuate Mariupol, while 20,000 people want to leave Volnovakha in the Donetsk region. At present, Volnovakha and Mariupol are being blocked by forces from the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, two separatist organizations in Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24 and has been launching strikes across the country ever since. This has led to several hundred civilian deaths and more than 1 million people fleeing the country to neighboring nations. Meanwhile, Ukraine and Russia will hold a third round of talks to resolve the crisis over the weekend. Now, before we wind up, let's have a quick look at the top stories once again. Polling for last phase of State Assembly election concludes. BJP indulges in activities violating Election Model Code of Conduct, asserts former Chief Minister Oibobi. Violent incidents marked last phase of state poll, 2 killed, another injured in different poll-related incidents. And Mami TV News video journalist assaulted mobile phone snatched away while covering assembly poll in Woking Assembly constituency. That brings us to the end of today's English News Bulletin. Keep watching Mami TV for latest news updates. Thanks for watching.